Oh, hey there, how you doing? So, welcome to the Burt Locker. It's another week with no fights to break down. Honest to God, it has been so long since I've bet on a fight that my bank contacted me to ask me if I'm okay. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ, but it's all right. Fights are back this weekend, so I'll have some terrible bets to put down. The breakdown's going to be going over onto my, what's it called, the Patreon on Friday, and then it'll be over on the YouTube on Saturday. Giga Chikadze is fighting Qatar, Kelvin Qatar, Kelvin Qatar, that guy. The guy who got pieced up by Max Holloway, the one where he had the most significant strikes landed against him in UFC history. Anyway, that's all to look forward to. But I've been having a quick look around the news, so why don't you join me for the Burt Locker, episode 101. So Volk has signed to fight the Korean Zombie. Basically, it's been a whirlwind, like roller coaster ride of emotions, hasn't it? Because look, at first it was Max Holloway versus Volkanovski 3, and oh man, did all the people kind of jump up, like all the fucking Max fanboys. Don't get me wrong, right? I'm a huge fan of Max Holloway. He lost both those fights. Look, the first one, he clearly lost. The second one, look, he won rounds 1 and 2, right? Were they 10-8? Arguable, but it's semantics. The judges scored it the way they scored it. The fight was close enough that it honestly wouldn't have been a robbery to go either way. That's not winning a fight, right? That's losing. So look, he lost to Volkanovski twice. Bottom line, and that's okay. Look, Volkanovski's a hell of a fighter, but end of the day, people need to stop crying about that second fight already. Good God, Johnny, just let it go. Right? It is what it is. Like, Max Holloway is no doubt going to become undeniable, and he's going to get that third fight. But at the end of the day, what are you supposed to do? Just give Max unlimited rematches until you get the result that you want? Come on, guys. That's not how fighting works. You know, it's just, end of the day, I get it. The fight was close. It was competitive both times. I would watch Holloway versus Volkanovski every day of the week. They're great fights, and it's going to be a real treat when we get to see them again. But it wasn't robbery. Volkanovski won 2 fights against Max Holloway, and he's the legitimate champion. So there's people crying saying that, oh no, Volkanovski's not even the legitimate champion. You can go fuck yourselves, because he is. He is the champ, right? And basically, they were going to fight again. Max Holloway has a pre-existing injury that he's aggravated, so he is now out of that fight. And in steps the Korean Zombie. And again, for some reason, people are hating on that. Look, the Korean Zombie, he's not quite a legend, but he is kind of like, he's got quite a following. He's got what I would call kind of a cult following, and you know what, he puts on entertaining fights. His style is brilliant. Like he can take a hit, hence the term, Korean Zombie, but you know what? He goes out there and he puts on, performances of the look, Joey, look at this guy, Joey. It's like knockout of Mark Hominick, knockout of the night. Before that, the submission of Leonard Garcia, submission of the night. Then he got submission of the night against Dustin Poirier, and then he got. Then he lost the championship fight with Jose Aldo. No shame in that. But then he came back against Dennis Bermudez. Performance of the night bonus again. And even in his loss against Yair Rodriguez, fight of the night bonus. You got Renato Moicano. He got performance of the night in that TKO. He got performance of the night in the TKO win over Frankie Edgar. Then obviously he got beaten by Brian Ortega, but Ortega looked sensational that night. And then he's beaten out Dan Ige who's a very tough opponent. So look, at the end of the day, he is a guy who's floating up in the upper echelons in the rankings of that division. So the fight does make sense if Max Holloway cannot make that walk. And people fucking crying out saying, oh, why didn't Yair Rodriguez get the shot? Easy. It's because he lost his last fight, guys. Look, I understand that that in the past, people have had title shots coming off the back of losses. But I don't agree with it. I think it's a stupid thing to do. And the only time they made that exception was when it was like legends. You know what I mean? I believe it was Jose Aldo that got a title shot coming off of a loss. And someone else whose name is escaping me, Chael Sonnen, right? Chael Sonnen's a fucking gangster and he's a legend of the sport. And it was only because he piped up to step in, so many times and help the UFC out. They were like, you know what? And also he could sell the fight. He was able to sell the fight, right? Whereas, so there are very few notable exceptions to that rule. But look, Yair Rodriguez isn't that guy. Do you know what I mean? Where was he before he fought Max Holloway? What did he have? A 2-year layoff, something like that. Do you know what I mean? Let's have a look at what his layoff actually was. So Yair Rodriguez, yeah, because I know. Like, let's not quote myself too quickly. I think it's about a 3-year layoff he had, but I want to just see. So 2019 to 2021, October and November. So yeah, so okay, right, a 2-year layoff. Then he had a 2-year layoff, and then came back and fought Max Holloway. Great fight, not disputing that. Competitive. He looked really good. He lost. He lost the fight. It wasn't exactly like it was a controversial loss or anything like that, was it? So, end of the day, you can't put Yair Rodriguez in there because he's coming off a loss. You know what I mean? That's mental. There are so many guys in that featherweight division that are coming off wins that you would happily see in there against Volkanovski. I think that Giga Chikadze, honestly, if Giga Chikadze is going to be, because he's, I mean, again, I'm not going to count Kelvin Kattar out of this one. At the end of the day, if Kelvin Kattar comes back and looks absolutely sensational like he had done in the past, I don't think he will look sensational against Giga Chikadze. I think that Giga Chikadze is going to fuck him up, honestly. But if Kelvin, I think the winner of that fight, if they don't take too much damage, could easily step into a title shot. If Korean Zombie gets injured. But man, would I love to see that, Joey. If Giga Chikadze manages to blast through Kelvin Kattar like he's been blasting through everybody, Giga Chikadze is a problem, man. He's a problem. But yeah, so anyway, like I said, in short, many people in that division deserve the shot more than Yair Rodriguez. So all you people kind of going out there going, oh, it's a crime that Yair Rodriguez hasn't been given the shot and that Zombie has. It's like, Zombie's coming off a win and he's a fucking badass motherfucker. And like, I'm not saying that Yair isn't. Yair's clearly a bad man himself, but he's coming off a loss. He's coming off a loss and a 2-year layoff. That doesn't equal title shot to me. Just doesn't. So anyway, and it doesn't equal title shot to the UFC apparently either. So, ooh. And I've got some really bad news about Miesha Tate, guys. Really, really terrible news. You hate to see it. She has shot down any idea of her joining OnlyFans. She said that she is just not that desperate. So hey, come on, there's a lot of ladies out there that are making good money on OnlyFans, and fair play to them. God bless you. Why wouldn't you? I see absolutely nothing wrong with it. If there's money out there to be made and you are good looking enough for people to want to see you, then go ahead. Do you know what I mean? The only people that are hating on that are fucking jealous because nobody's fucking wanting to wank over them, quite frankly, to quote a comedian friend of mine. It's absolutely right. Like, at the end of the day, look, you do you. Do you know what I mean? We're all hustling out there to try and fucking, make it in this life. And if you are attractive enough to stick yourself on OnlyFans and you have a following and you can make some money, why the fuck wouldn't you? Beats working for a living. Beats like doing like a fucking day job. Fuck all that. So yeah, I don't understand. I get it. Miesha Tate wasn't really... I don't think she was really kind of like having a go at people that are on OnlyFans. It's just a fan kept on asking her, oh, when are you joining OnlyFans? And she said, I'm not that desperate. She was more slighting the fan than anything else. It was basically the headline of the article, as is always the case, was taken completely out of context. Thank you very much, MMA news sites, for all your fine reporting. And so, yeah, so... The next thing we've seen is obviously, you know, people are all real upset because the UFC pay-per-views are going up by $5, and yeah, and the whole world is ending. Like, the same people that fucking complain about fighter pay are all the same ones that stream fucking pay-per-view events. Do you know what I mean? So it's just like, yeah, cool. So it's like, yeah, oh, the fighters are all underpaid. But also, if you've got like an illegal stream, because I don't want to give any of my money to the UFC that could possibly funnel back into the fighters' pockets. So at the end of the day, it's ridiculous. Like, I mean, obviously I'm in the UK, so we're quite lucky. Look, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? You guys over in the US, it's $75 for a pay-per-view, but at the same time, what time do your pay-per-views start? What, like 8, 9 o'clock at night? Do you know what I mean? I think the main events are like over by midnight. You can go to a Buffalo Wild Wings and go and have a few beers with your buddies and like watch the fights and have like a really cool atmosphere. In the UK, the main event is at 5 o'clock in the fucking morning, so you're damn right I'm not gonna pay for it. Do you know what I mean? I'm literally, over here we get it on like a subscription service on BT Sport. So it's like $19.99 a month, and we get like all of the UFC events. I record them and I actually watch them in the morning with some eggs and bacon and coffee. It's sensational. Every now and again I'll stay up, but honestly, even if I've managed to stay up until 5 a.m. for that main event, am I enjoying it? Fuck no! I'm sitting there like, could you please just knock this guy out so that I can go to bed? I have had enough of this. This is bollocks. So look, yeah, it's a double-edged sword. Yes, you guys have exorbitant pay-per-view prices, but that's because you have no regulation on those. And over here, we have regulation on them. So it's apples and oranges, isn't it? But, well, it's not apples and oranges. It's the same thing. You just get charged more for it. Unfortunately, that's unfortunate. Now, I'm not saying it's right, but you also get to watch it at a reasonable time, and you have options. You can go to a bar and watch it. I would much rather watch the UFC in a bar, and you know, with some hot wings, with a couple of beers, with my buddies, than sit at home, you know, like either half asleep at 5 a.m. or, you know, drinking my coffee like with my eggs and bacon, like watching it after the fact. It's always better live. Let's be fair. And yeah, so. There are pros and cons to each, and I get it. And also, look, even if you are watching it at your gaff, like you can, like over there in the States, it's on at a reasonable time. You could get a few people to come round and all chip in for the pay-per-view. Do you know, if it was $75 over here, no one would buy it, because you'd be sitting on your own, and it's like, yeah, that's $75 to like on your own. That is an exorbitant amount, but yeah. Anyway, and one of the people that's come out and stuck his 2 cents in, which I'm sure Dana White is just glad of the help. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sean O'Malley. He's like, literally, his quote off of like his podcast was like, "What are we doing here, Dana? What are we doing here?" It's like, what are we doing here, Sean? You're shutting the fuck up and letting the guys who know how to run a $1 billion organization crack on with it. I'm sure they're just dying to know what your take on their pricing structure is, Sean. For fuck's sake. Look, just stick to fighting. Sean O'Malley's an entertaining guy, and I'm a huge fan. But it's like, look, I don't think anybody in the UFC's kind of like, you know, payment structuring accounting department is hanging on his every word, quite frankly. Do you know what I mean? Didn't he get some sort of like tattoo from like some sort of molester like on his neck or something? You're not taking life advice from that guy, although he is killing it at life. So, do you know what I mean? Maybe the UFC should listen to him, quite frankly. Yeah, but yeah, kind of flip-flopped on that one. Ariel Helwani has said that Ngannou is a promoter's dream. I don't agree. I don't agree with that at all. At the end of the day, he started making more money than he's ever made, and you know, and he's been making a lot of money, Francis Ngannou. He's on every billboard. He's got sponsors coming out the wazoo, and you know, he makes good money. Do you know what I mean? You're talking in the millions. So how he then has the nerve to slag off the UFC, very publicly I might add, and say it's their fault that I don't have enough money to do my next fight camp when they've been paying him millions, is quite frankly ridiculous. And I don't understand in what respect does that make Francis Ngannou a promoter's dream exactly? In what respect? You know what I mean? It's a ridiculous thing to say. At the end of the day, Francis Ngannou, he's gotten to the top, and he's trying very quickly to go for that big money boxing match with Tyson Fury, which is ridiculous because his boxing is, quite frankly, you know, it's just not good enough to even any top 10, even maybe any top 20 heavyweight in boxing would have a pretty easy night with Francis Ngannou, I believe, anyway. But, you know, Francis has got a puncher's chance, obviously, because he's got all that power. But the fact he's making all of these kind of like public allegations at the UFC and just basically having a go at him, that doesn't make him a promoter's dream. It actually makes him the opposite of that. And that brings us neatly to Troll of the Week. Troll of the Week this week is just one, right? Because it was so good that I just had to I just had to have it as just one because I'm just such a huge fan of it. Where the hell have I put it? Oh my God, I really messed this one up. Hold on. It's right. I know that it's definitely in my messages, so I'll have to just open that up. And there we go. So yeah, basically, Boxing Habit have come to the conclusion that Jake Paul is the greatest of all time in boxing. And you know what? They're not entirely wrong, because Jake Paul beat Tyrone Woodley, who beat Stephen Thompson, who beat Robert Whittaker, who beat Yoel Romero, who beat Lyoto Machida, who beat Randy Couture, who beat James Toney, who beat Evander Holyfield, who beat Larry Holmes, who beat Muhammad Ali. So there you have it, folks. Jake Paul is a better boxer than Muhammad Ali. And with that, it's time to end, and I'll be back on Friday on the Patreon. Go over and check that out. Your support would be much appreciated. And yeah, I'll be putting down some terrible bets and predictions on Kelvin Kattar taking on Giga Chikadze this Saturday, and it's going to be so nice to see the fights back. But until then, keep those odds long and those bets terrible.